Okay, this is Group 2, Module 4, recording number 2. We're going to start with question number 4. What is ethnic studies and how can it be used in racially diverse and predominantly white schools? From one of the articles that I read by Uriet Jr. and Margarita, I don't know how to say her last name, sorry. It said that ethnic studies, kind of a summary was that it represents a challenge to the white stream schooling, to subtractive schooling, to the property of whiteness, and to the white privilege. So really, it just presented itself as reading it, that it's just a challenge to the school curriculum and culture that we know right now and that we've probably all experienced. And that the ethnic studies is, especially like in Arizona and California, from our podcast, it said, that they're trying to ban some of the ethnic study programs that are happening right now.
Yeah. And then Katie and Morrill explained that ethnic studies is an disciplinary approach and partnering with community organizations and building alliances across cultures so educators can supersede irrational and dehumanize the hegemonic forces. I hope correctly.
I sounded good.
Those are big words.
So to kind of bring those two together in the Urieta Jr. Article as well that Jess had referenced, they talked about how it really shouldn't be its own curriculum or its own subject, that it should really be intertwined and encompassed with all the other curriculums.
Mm-hmm.
So kind of like Holly was saying, that interdisciplinary focus. And I thought it was really interesting in the article how they talked about how, all these other cultures are taking a step forward and, bringing in the native languages into the classroom, where in America, we're taking a step backwards and saying, no, you have to conform to what we're doing. So I found that really interesting, and that really ethnic studies creates a safe and authentic caring space, which I think is really important for our students and all students that are, as this article references, all students who aren't white, which is a lot of our students.
Mm-hmm. I also want to, add the definition in the critical pedagogy of race article, ethnic studies. They also added to the definition that ethnic studies really should begin with the assumption that race and racism have been and will continue to be a strong social and cultural force in American society. So it's not only incorporating pedagogy and literature and history of ethnicity outside of the white race, it also is recognizing that those stories have been purposefully removed and left out, and the kind of the effect of that and the purpose of that to keep certain stories the dominant story and the story of power and success. And kind of diverting from that, but I also noticed a trend amongst the articles that suggested incorporating ethnic studies, doing a lot of social justice work with students, and also project-based learning. I loved in the TED Talk we watched this mention of literally writing the missing chapters from their text. And I thought so amazing to put that task on the students. And he mentioned that his students are Latino and African American, so getting Black and brown students to work together to really research and write their own histories to share with others was such an inspirational project for me.
Mm-hmm.
All right, question number 5. What are ways that teachers can engage in discussions on Islamophobia.
I go ahead.
Go ahead, Holly. Go ahead.
Okay. Just getting the teachers together to learn about the culture together, help to develop the curriculum using leading experts and developmental psychiatrists. I got that out of one of the articles, and then just maybe even participating in the teacher training that the Tannenbaum Center offers.
Yeah, I had the Tannenbaum Center offered that they really highlight the fact that we need to teachers need to educate themselves. That really, it starts with us, and it starts at a really young age. So we need to begin with the kids as young as possible. So for us, that means that we need to be we really need to grasp an understanding of this culture, and not only what we're teaching, but also bringing in what we're seeing in society, because kids at such a young age, they pick up on those things, and those, concepts and visuals more than they will pick up what we're trying to teach them verbally in a classroom, or what even we might be allowed to teach in the classroom.
Mm-hmm. Right. Just building on what Hillary just said, I think this is another moment for teachers to really examine their own stereotypes and their own prejudice, and resolve those first, and then kind of working with their white students or students who also have some prejudice, but doing that self-check-in is really, really important.
I also had the Tannenbaum Center offers the training and stuff. I thought that was just overall like a good program, like you ladies thought also. And that I wanted to add too is that they offer the training for not only students but for the teachers, and I think that's a great way for us as we graduate from our master's program and go on, that we also kind of need to stay current with the stuff as it'll be evolving as the years go on. Yes. And it's something that we have to kind of take upon ourselves, especially if our school district doesn't do it, to do the professional development on our own for this. So, all right, question number 6. What are future considerations for teachers who are unsure of how to address religious and language discrimination in schools? In the Children and Youth Services Review article, there was a section that kind of confused me, where they did this discussion with the students, and some of the students said that they wanted the teacher should intervene, but then they also said that to make sure that the teachers gather more information before they do intervene. And that was kind of confusing, because when you see something happening in the hallways that you think that you should intervene on, it's going to make me think twice. Do I have enough information to intervene, or should I stay out of it and intervene later? So I know that was something from these readings that was kind of a challenge for me, that I'm just wondering, for future, how I should go about that, or how other teachers should go about that.
I kind of had that same thought as you, Jess. I felt like, if they want us to intervene, but then do we know the whole situation? And then even if we do try and figure out the situation, how are we supposed to interpret it? Mm-hmm. If we don't have all of the information or the two different sides, and then also it'll be a challenge for us that we have to take ourselves out of the situation as well, and our own beliefs, mm-hmm. and our own feelings. And that is a lot to put on teachers. We have a very set way of looking at, we should be separating, church and school. And this article definitely challenged that idea.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had a situation when I taught kindergarten where I had a little Jehovah's Witness. And so, celebrating holidays, different things had to be done for her. So it does put you in a tough situation if parents are not proactive and kind of come in and let you know about the child's religious preferences. Teachers and administrators, need to have in-services, so all religious, qualifications and things are totally understood by all. But yeah, I was put in that very precarious kind of situation where I didn't know how to react to something that she was dealing with her religion, and this is just a kindergartner.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think I also had some thoughts of like what not to do, but I think the articles did give us some good ideas of what to do. Like, I love that they talked about starting teaching world religion in kindergarten. And I think really like normalize the fact that no matter what you're doing in your household, there's other people doing this, and that's totally normal, and that's what these words are, and that's who these people are, and really humanizing people of different cultures and religions, and that is really important. And they also mentioned, teaching your kids how to ask kind of, I was kind of taught by my family, don't talk about religion or politics. So kind of erasing that and teaching your kids how to ask these questions, but respectfully.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
To learn about each other and really have that door open and, thinking about what is appropriate for your age group, the developmental stage of your kids, and really, thinking about your audience when talking about religion, which can be very emotionally touchy and loaded.
But I think, like you're saying, just like parents are, we're also on that front line of how to ask questions appropriately, how to respond appropriately. And even in those discussions in the different senses, like in social studies, when you're learning about history, or current events, and in English when you're reading novels, integrating those religion questions or perspectives into the lesson. So it's not so isolated, but then it can be a meaningful conversation and also a normalized conversation where it's not in isolation, where it seems uncomfortable and out of the blue. But we, like you're saying, with the parents, just like parents are, we're kind of on that front line of how to appropriately address those situations.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Lizzie and Hillary, you guys have done a good segue into question number 7, and that's how can teachers thwart negative stereotypes about students with diverse identities? You guys have been talking about families and parents and how to ask respectively, and I think that's something too that teachers can take on within the classroom and in the educational setting, of how to kind of negate those negative stereotypes and how to make sure that all the students can feel comfortable within the classroom and the education setting, but then taking that out into the community.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I know, go ahead, Holly.
Education, like we've seen in other articles, is education gets rid of ignorance.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I definitely think overall, as teachers, just being able to kind of do the content integration of the different religions and languages and cultures will really kind of help with the negative stereotypes and with overall with these students feeling more comfortable coming into the schools within America.
Absolutely. I think ignorance is stereotyping and prejudice is like foundation. So if you remove ignorance and start teaching about racial diversity, religious diversity in that kindergarten age, just including it in your curriculum from literally K through 12, that kid is going to graduate and really be a lot more ready to interact in a global world and interact with people that look different, sound different, believe different than they